I'm drinking water. I wish it was tea. Water Coke, but it's water. Trying to be good. Well, we were organized.
That's how I get
It is Monday and we are back. I am running really late this morning. Super tired. I was up until about 1 a.m. getting stuff ready for the week. So I'm going to get in and get started and get stuff together. So let's go. This is the current state of disaster. So I thought I'd show you guys what I'm working with this afternoon. I didn't get a chance to blog today. I don't have video release on my kids, so my partner teacher just walked in. She didn't know I was recording, so you might have heard her. So I just thought I'd show you what I'm working on with their data binders. So I'm organizing their spelling groups right now. I DSA'd my kids last week. So DSA is developmental spelling assessment. So I DSA'd them, I tested them, and okay, so I thought I would show you guys how I do my grouping, because I do spelling a little bit different with my kiddos. So I start off with assessing them based off of this book right here. I use the assessments from Kathy Gansky's Word Journeys. So if you haven't got this book, I definitely suggest, if this is something that you're interested in doing, getting this book. And then all of these that I'm about to show you a little glimpse of go along with this book. But you assess your kids, you have a list of words, and you read them off. It starts off with letter name pattern spellers, which is short vowels, beginning blends, ending blends, affricates, and then you go into within word pattern spellers, which is like long vowels, complex blends, and kind of goes up. But you start off with letter names, so you give them a list of words. If they get the word spelled correctly, they get 2. It's not 2 points, that's just 2. That means they got it spelled correct. If they get it spelled incorrectly, then but they got the spelling feature spelled correctly, you would give them a 1. So like this one, the feature in this word that I was looking for was the E. So since he got the E, but he got the word spelled correctly, but since he got the E, I would have given him a 1. So let's say he did J-E, and then he left off the T. But since he heard that middle sound, I would have given him a 1, not a 2. I'll see if I can find another one of my kiddos that did something very similar. I'm trying to shield their names. So for example, like on this one, the word was with, and they did W-E-T-H, but the spelling feature in this word was the T-H. They got the T-H, so they get a 1. So at the end, you count up how many 2s they got. That goes at the top of the page, which I'm trying not to show you because I don't want to like flash their names everywhere. But so if they got like he got 25, he got all the 25 words correct, then you write that at the top of the page, and then you count how many 2s and 1s they got, and you put it down here at the bottom. And then this means something on the sheet from her book, which I have on my computer. I have that on my computer. So that's what this is. So I'm going to try to zoom in, and it'll probably take my thing a minute to focus. So let's see if it'll focus. Come on. Okay, well. let's see if I hold it up, because it's the lighting in here I've determined that makes it. So like this column here, this column here anyway, is initial and final consonants. So like all of these students, most of my class got initial and final consonants. I had a couple down here that did not get any. So that's where I will work with them. They will, that's what their focus will be initial and final consonants. This one was initial and final consonants and digraphs. Almost all of my class got that, or blends and digraphs. So almost all of my class got those, except a few in towards this part. And then it goes short vowels. So that is where this column goes. That's where these match up. So you take this column and you fit it in here. So now I look at this and I determine what my spelling groups would be off of this. So I've got my kids' names over here, and I zigzag them across, and I have this color coded on my computer, but I zigzag it across and I split them into groups based off of where they're at here. And the groups change throughout the year, which is a little bit annoying, I'm sure, for my parents, but when I'm giving their kiddos what they need in word work and in phonics, I think that that they appreciate that, because they're 1 week, I try to keep it the same for each quarter at least, but so for like the first 9 weeks, our focus, I'll try to keep like all of the kids around the same group, that are working on the same thing, because you'll see they all kind of fall into very similar patterns. You always have a couple kiddos that will blow it out of the water. Like I have a couple kiddos over here that still blew it out of the water that I could have probably tested over here in this stage, and might have done a few things over here, but they were missing some of the key features over here, so I went ahead and thought, well, I'll just go ahead and work on these little areas, which was complex vowels and abstract vowels, or complex consonants and abstract vowels. So I thought I'll go ahead and work on those areas first before I test them over here. But mostly your kids are all in a lot of the same area. So working spelling groups into your classroom can actually be quite simple. You can have like 3 or 4 or 5 different lists. I've had 6 different lists running before, and it's not as complicated as what it might be seem. So then I just kind of go through and I take that. I know I need to be working on short A, because I try to keep like the same like key sound together, so that I have like some commonality across the board with my kiddos. So we have short A this week, so that's their commonality, that's their common sound. So when I'm working with them all on short A, and we can kind of go through things on short A, and then I can kind of split them off into groups, and I can call like one group over to work on something while I've got another group working on their words. So once I get them into the routine of their procedures for each of the days, then I can pull them up in small group and do small group spelling. So I have a small group reading, small group spelling, small group writing, and small group math. So once I get them into the procedures of what they're doing, then I can do that with them. I can pull them aside, and I just pull them back up to my carpet. So I've got them all working on short A, but I know that it's like this group right here. In the middle, I wanted to work on initial consonant blends and digraphs, and then a few of them that were up here needed more of a focus on final consonant blends, while the rest of them were still needing initial consonant blends. So that's where this came in. I had a couple students, I think about 5 or 6 students that just needed to focus on short A, just CVC patterns. So that's where this came in. I went to my book, and I actually have this in my that binder that I showed you I actually have that pulled out in this binder. It's back here. It's right there. One of my wonderful teaching buddies that I used to teach with created this magnificent list here that I kind of modify each year, but I have that in there. But I kind of go back to this, and I find words in here to give me ideas, and I kind of think about what I've been seeing in my kids' writing so far. So here's like all of the add words, ag words, and words, and I kind of go through and I think which words do I feel like that I've seen a little bit in some of their writing or that we've been working on and talking about that I feel like could help them, and that's some of the words that I put down. So this is some of the CVC words for that group A. So my group A is these kiddos down here that really needed to stay focused on short vowels and just initial consonants. So very simple, simple group. My group B group needed, we're going to stick with short A. We're going to go with initial consonant blends. So they're going to have initial consonant blends because they needed a little bit more of a challenge. So they're going to stick with some of these words, but they're going to have a few consonant blends in with these words. So we're still working on that word family, the same word families that these guys are working on. So there's some of the commonality there, but we have the blends. Then we have my group C group. That's some of these guys up here that needed, I know it's not focusing as well as I'd like it to focus. It's because I don't have a light over my table. I'll try to get a lamp over here when I'm doing these. But that some of these guys up here, they needed final consonant blends. They still had a few hits and misses over here on the initial. They didn't get them all correct. So I still wanted them to do some of these words, but they needed a lot of that work. So they're going to have a couple of the final consonant blends, a couple of the initial consonant blends, and they're going to have some of the CVC words. So they're actually going to have all of these words, so 12 words total. My D group is the one that's not going to have any of these words. They're going to be challenged. So this is my group that's going to be completely different. This is my group that's going to be, I'm going to actually teach them how to do spelling and word work completely independently. They'll sit for the initial lesson. They'll be there for like when I do my little mini lesson, but I will not pull them for like a little mini group lesson. I'll do like a check-in with them. I will teach them how to do more of a spelling, and it's kind of independently done. They'll have a little spelling folder. This group is only 3 kiddos. This is my top 3 up here that got perfect over here and really killed the spelling over here. Now this little guy here didn't do as good over here, but he got right here, he got all of the initial and final blends here and some of the complex, all of the complex blends. So I knew he would be able to handle this. So he might end up getting kicked back in a couple weeks with this group, and I may end up having only 2 here. But for right now, he can hang with this group because he was good to go. That third group, this 4th group down here, is going to do like complete independent word work time. I'm going to teach them the procedures this week for handling their folders and their notebooks and everything, and I'm going to send them off to work together. They'll do different kinds of activities and stuff, just the 3 of them together, while I'm doing a lesson on the carpet. Now let me show you just kind of how I got started today. What I always do to get started, we always sit together, as my camera zoomed in as far as it can go. We always sit together and do, oh no, here it goes, a chart together. So they list, I'm going to walk over there and zoom in. We always sit and do a list together of all of the word families, or if it's like ER or IR, or if it's a long vowel, we'll make a chart together of all the words. So I'll let them give me all their ideas. That's my funny looking apple, isn't it? I tried to cram it in the last minute and it just didn't fit. my kids were telling me I should have just made the apple upside down because it didn't really look like an apple. It was kind of funny. So anyway, we'll make our list of words together right there. So that's always what we do. We were going to do that yesterday, but we ended up having kind of a funny schedule yesterday. So, and then I have, just for the CVC word families, I don't know if you guys can see these, I have all of these little posters, so we'll do these together, which the kids love doing these. They always think it's funny to see which ones I'll pull out. So they'll help me write the words down on these, and then they like to see these displayed around the room for a little bit. It just helps remind them. They do a lot of this in kindergarten, but it helps just to remind them what the CVC words are that go with those. So we'll put those up. So right now I have to do, so that's what we did today in our word work. And then for them to practice, so that they could practice, they spelled it, they stood up and spelled it, they did some of their spelling words, and then they went to the tables and they got to use shaving cream on the tables at the end of the day, because we had a fire drill today, but they got to use shaving cream. And if you've never seen this, I'll show you how that works. So you take shaving cream, and I just have parents like donate shaving cream if they can, or I'll get it from like the Dollar Tree. So you just squirt a little bit of shaving cream. It's not going to come out best right now. I was going to have my son help model this, but he found somebody to go play with. So move my camera strap so it doesn't get in the way. So you just spray, I don't know, that's about like a quarter size, maybe a bit bigger than a quarter, I don't know. I don't give them very much, but I'll probably give them a little bit more than that after they've done it a few times, because you want them to have enough so they can do all their words a couple times. But you put that on the table, and then this is either going to be a really good thing or it's going to be a mistake with my camera in my hand. And then you spread it around, and they get themselves a nice little pile of shaving cream. And it's so neat because they're like, oh, we're making a mess, but really it's making the room smell nice, and it's cleaning the tables off. It's getting some of that crayon and that marker and all that nastiness off the tables. So spread it around, and then of course you've got a messy hand with a camera in your other hand. I hope this doesn't cause a mess. And then they can write the word. So if the word is cat, and then they erase it. If it's scrap, is one of my words, then they can erase it. And so they do that over and over. And so eventually the shaving cream, you can see that, eventually it'll go away. So they keep doing it until it's gone. Hat. And the texture of it is just fantastic. Even for some of my kids that I've had that have sensory, I'm gonna go wash now, that have sensory issues, that it's never bothered them. They've actually enjoyed it. So that's something that they've always loved to do. And it, you know, it cleans your tables. It's fun. So we always do that. We try to do that once every couple weeks. I don't do it every week, but we try to do that once every couple weeks. And then when we're done, if we have a little bit left on the tables, I just get some disinfecting wipes or some things out and wipe those off. So now, my goal for the rest of the afternoon, I've got to get my sharks moved over to my window so that I can put up the sound wall, because I need to get the sound wall going so that we can add our A sounds. I'm going to put our Apple card up for A for right now, and then we're going to put all of our little posters, those that the kids are making, we're going to put all of those around it. I know I can get some of those off TPT, and there's some great sellers, or I can make my own, but the kids just love those. So I'm going to put those up around my Apple card. And my Apple card that I'm talking about is this card right here. This card. It came with our kit, our literacy series, and I have about 4 sets of these. So I'm going to put that one up. We do a bunch of different stuff with those. I will share that later on, but it's a great card. And the ones that I have that go with that, the sound spelling cards that I have that go with that, like that one, they're great. So I figured I'd put those up. For right now, at least. So that one's going to go up for at least this week. I'm going to put it over there. So I've got to get those moved this afternoon before I have to go. So that's what I'm going to work on this afternoon. And I'm going to clean up my mess. Tomorrow in word work, and this is just some of the things that we do initially. But tomorrow in word work, oh, my battery's about to overheat, so I'm going to get cut off again. My camera, y'all, I don't know what's going on with it. But if I get cut off, I will share with you what we're going to do tomorrow. But we're going to do some sorts. We do it on the computer first, and then we do it from the books. So I'm going to sign off for now, and I will check in with you guys tomorrow and share with you tomorrow what we're going to do. Bye! It's the end of Tuesday, and I thought I would show you what I'm working on, organizing and getting stuff together. Trying to get my spelling and phonics stuff put together, so I'm going to flip you around and show you all about that. Okay guys, so this is one of the things that I do after I've got my spelling words picked out, the feature pattern for the week. I've got 3 to 4 groups at any time running, so I like to choose various decodable books for them. So I love reading A to Z because I can go in and I can pick out books that go with each individual kiddo. So I'm going to go in and just kind of show you what I'm going to choose. Usually do this the week prior to, but since I've just kind of got some things started for this week, I'm going to go ahead and pick out what's going on for this week. So go to resources. I'm going to go down here to decodables. My camera's probably going to zoom in and out as this moves around. I'm going to go ahead and click on, we're doing, our feature is short A, but because I have so many different kids, and they're all different levels, I've got some that are doing short A simply with word families like at and an, and they're keeping it really simple. And I have some that are doing beginning blends with the short A, and then I've got some that are doing ending blends with short A because that's what they needed. They got their beginning blends down, but they needed short A with ending blends. That was their focus. Then I had some that had their beginning blends, had their ending blends, but they needed like some complex consonant clusters, some of those 3-letter blends, and that sort of thing. So I'm going to go in and click on short vowels and blends, and it's going to give me a bunch of different options. So now I've got 35 different lessons / books to look at. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to pick out some books. Let's see. I know this one, and I know we are using the consonant S a lot in our spelling this week, so you can preview it, but I already know this one, so I'm going to print it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one. Pull that down for right now. So that's one. I will do that one with my one group, and then I need something that's a little bit more complex than that for my middle-ish group. I need something with a little bit more difficult blends. So let's go down here to these blends, as I know it's going to zoom in and out. This is just kind of my process as I go through this. So this has initial blends, so that's a good one because one of my words is plant. So that's a pretty good one right there. And then this one has some final blends, so that would be a really good one. And this one is 3-letter blend, so I probably will do this one for my one group. I'll probably do this one, and then I'll probably do this one. So I'll probably do those 3 and print those off for them to have some decodable books. So they'll have, while we're all doing the same activity, they'll have books that are different. So that's kind of how you can work doing spelling groups where everybody's doing the same thing, but it's differentiated. That's one way you can do it. So I'm going to print these off and go get those off the printer. Okay, so I'm back. So I hope the sound will be just as good on here, but we'll see. So this is what we did today. We did this sort, and this is from none other than Tunstall's Teaching Tidbits. And I'll link this pack in the description box too, because this phonics pack that she has is amazing. And I'll link her blog post that she does about her phonics as well. But we do this together, and we talk about each sound. And while my lower group and my middle group is working on this with me, because you can kind of see all of these words are pretty basic. They're really good words to work on and review. But while they're working, my higher group that really needed the challenge, they stayed with us to talk about it, to review the short A sound, and to talk about the word families. And we talked about what the word family means, and how we can use word families to help us. But they're really strong readers already. So they stayed with us today for about 3 or 4 minutes. We watched a YouTube video. I'll try to link that one down below as well, the YouTube video that we watched. And then I'll link Mr. Thorne Network. I'll link his videos as well, because those are some fantastic videos. The thing about Mr. Thorne, though, if you do watch those, is he is from somewhere in England. I think he's right outside London. So his accent sometimes, when he pronounces some of our sounds, it can be tricky. So you just have to warn kids. It's kind of like if you're in the South, like that's where I'm from, in the South. So we pronounce things kind of silly sometimes. That's kind of just how I explain it to my kids. So anyway, this is what the activity. We watched a couple videos to reintroduce our sounds. We talked about how the sounds build on each other and how we switch out the beginning sounds and how they're word families and how they help each other. We reviewed our these that we did yesterday. We reviewed all of those guys, and then we had this up, and I handed out all these pictures, and they had to help me do the sort together. So we turned over a card at a time, and I revealed a sound at a time. So they would say S, and then I would reveal the ad, and then we talked about how we can say the ad together, and we can add the beginning sound to the ad to help us with the fact that since we knew it's a word family, we knew that we could say the ads together and the at together. And then we found the picture, and they got the hang of that pretty quick, because our kindergarten team here is fantastic, and they do a lot of word families. I think that's why they score so well on the DSAs, because they do such strong CVC and word family building in kindergarten. So that makes such a difference. So they got the hang of that really quick. So we did that. That took about, that whole beginning lesson took maybe about 10 minutes or so. And then they go off and they do this sort, which goes right along with it. So they had to trace it to practice their handwriting, which they desperately need. And then they try to do it on their own, and then they match the pictures. So they did that for me today. Now, while they were doing that, my higher group that didn't so much need that was introduced to this. This is their spelling. This is what I introduced them to. They were introduced to, and this is just my sample pack. They have their own. But my one of my dear friends that I used to teach with started this, and I've been using it ever since. So that I introduced this. This is not anything fancy. I've had this, gosh, again, 15 years now, and it's lasted. But this is a sample, so they can choose one thing from each, but they have to do this throughout the week. So while they're working, while the rest of my kids are working, they have to choose one thing from each column each day. Or not each day, but like on Tuesday they might choose something from column A, something from column B on Wednesday, something from column C on Thursday. But by the end of the week, they have to have one thing from each column done. So this is column A. I probably do need to redo this though, because it is. So anyway, column A has ABC order, reverse ABC order. So we went through this and talked about this packet today. Syllable sort, and then letter sort, and then rainbow write, and then configuration. And then draw a picture to match your words. And then column B has write a pyramid of your words, write your words in words, then a word stamp, and then column C, write your spelling words, and then circle the chunks, which is a little bit more challenging. And that's the thing, each column builds on itself. Write your words in sentences, or do your word in a word search. So they have to do something from each column each day. This was my examples. And so we just reviewed that today. We talked about that. That didn't take very long. I mean, it took a little while, but it took too long for them to do anything. So they're going to start their first activity tomorrow. So that was our activities for today. So tomorrow they're going to be introduced to Buddy's Spell. My kids will be, and then they're going to also do a little handwriting. Buddy's Spell. Where's my Buddy's Spell? Right here. So I give them their words. This is Buddy's Spell Check. And they love doing this because they get to use red pens, which they love. But this is Buddy's Spell Check. So they get to quiz each other. They get a list of their words, and they get partnered up. And basically they're giving each other basically a sample spelling test, but they're practicing their words. They're practicing reading their words, the fluency of their words. Now they'll do a couple other activities from Tunstall's packet that I'm going to link. And I'll go over those again too. But they love this page here. But they'll quiz each other, and then if they don't get the word correct, if their partner doesn't get the word correct, then whoever's the teacher will tell them, try again, and we go over, the kindness of that, and how you wouldn't want to be, told, you did that wrong, and how you could be mean about that, or you can be kind. So, and they do so well with it, and they love this activity. So they do that. That usually takes maybe about 5 or 6 minutes to quiz each other. They don't take very long on that at all. So that's why I always have to fill that with something else. And this usually comes at kind of the end of our word work activity. So they'll do that along with probably our decodable book and something from... There's our decodable books that we did not get to. And then...
Hey, so you standing there.
Can you see that time? You see that? It is way too late to be here. Hi guys. It's Wednesday and I am still here. I'm trying to get some stuff ready for this afternoon, for tomorrow. I'm still working on getting some of my word work stuff together for tomorrow. Trying to get back into the swing of things is so much harder at the beginning of the year, so I'm going to show you what we're going to do for tomorrow And then I thought that I would show you, I'm going to do a little bit of planning for next week, so I thought I'd show you some of that so that you can kind of see how I plan my spelling groups and get everything together. So let's go. Let's get this done. So this is my drawer. This is my magic drawer. This has got all of my WordWork files in it, and I organize all of my phonics stuff, even though it looks like a giant mess, and I probably need to go through it because that's like 15 years worth of stuff. Even though I have probably cleaned it out a couple times, I probably still need to go through it. And I'm sure there's a better way to organize, but that works for me. So that's my system. But it's in my drawer, and I organize it by sound or grouping that I'm going to teach my kiddos. So there's my A, my at family right there. And of course they're all mixed up because when you toss a file back in there, I just kind of toss them back in there where they go. There's AN and AD are back there. So we're kind of just working on a bunch of different word families this week. And then what I'll do is, if on Friday, if they don't do very well, if I notice that my kiddos don't do very well having a lot of word families together, then I'll take a step back. But since when I DSA them, since they did really well on all their short vowels across the board, since that wasn't something that they all needed, then I figured we'd try it first. Because you can spend a long time on word families, especially the A's. There's a lot of A word families. And if you only did one word family a week, you'd spend like 3 months on word families. Which, if your kids need it, that's fine. But if they don't, then don't do it. That's why I like the DSA, because you kind of find out what they need. So this is AP and AG. I got this awesome resource from Tweet Resources. So I like to pull out just bits and pieces from here, whatever I think might be fun for my kids. I probably need to go through and laminate these. These are just picture cards. Now it's Wednesday, so tomorrow will be Thursday. So it's kind of late to be doing those. And if we were doing centers, we haven't started centers yet. These would be great to add to centers. So I probably will pull these out and put these in centers, especially if I feel like my kids that are on the lower end might still need those. So I might put those in their differentiated spelling. And that is going to be right there in those buckets. So that'll be Group A's bucket, Group B, Group C. And so they'll know, I'll have a label on it. They'll know if they're spelling Group A when they go to, but that'll be their choice. They'll go to that bucket. And then Group B, and then Group C. So if they are supposed to go to, if that's one of their options for centers for that day, and they choose to go to WordWork for centers for during that time slot, then instead of going to, if they're in Group A, instead of going to these two buckets down here, they will only pull out of this bucket. So there'll be some tubs inside this bucket to, with different activities inside those tubs. So I will probably pull these cards out and laminate them and do an activity or something with these cards. That's my plan. That's my plan. Thank goodness I have a long weekend to try these plans out, right? And you can always put some of these activities in it too. She's got a really great one in here. We haven't tried yet as a class. It's got like popcorn words. Ooh, and this one's a good one too. I'll link this down below because this is a great resource. Pardon my strap. I have my strap on my camera today. This is a great one too. It's the house. And then they have to attach the door or the window that matches it. So that's a good one. Kids always like that one. I might pull that one out for like a fun Friday little activity. And that's like a little flat book. But some of these have, oh, and that's a little hat. That's a fun one. So those are some great ones. On some of them, she's got like a little popcorn bucket or like a theater. This one might be one that doesn't have it. But these are some great resources. I will link this packet in the description box because she does blends and she's got the whole mess of phonics, and they're great. They're awesome. And I think she even does like a freebie of each series. So like blends, I think she's got like one of the blends is free, and then one of the short vowels is free, and all that. So I'm going to go through these and pull out some things for each center, for each like to challenge them. And then, like I said, some of my stuff I need to get rid of. Like that's really old. She still has a website. You can see that. That's Sherry Carl. And I think her website is sherrycarl.com or carlscorner.us. That's what it used to be. I think it's carlscorner.us. And all of this stuff used to be free. I think a lot of it still is. But that's before Teachers Pay Teachers. I got this like 12 or 13 years ago. And now I'm getting a flashing battery again. That's just frustrating. I may have to switch over to my phone today because I'm not going to not record today. So I got all of this stuff from there. So I'm going to go through these, and I'm going to switch over to my phone. So I'll be right back. I'm going to switch over to my phone. Sorry about that, guys. That's the joys of having... Pause. Thank you. Sorry about that, guys. That's the joys of having an open classroom. Our custodian came in and he was ready to be done for the day, and didn't realize that I was in the classroom filming, so he was like, time to go. So I am gonna head home for tonight. I will try to film my planning for next week's word work so that you guys can see that, and I'm gonna try to film another video to be posted for tomorrow. But I don't know if that'll get done tonight because I have a lot to do tonight. So that's my goal, and I'm going to try to get a little bit of filming done tonight. And if not, I will see you tomorrow on Thursday. Bye. Okay, guys, so this was the activity that we did today. And so I was going to show you a little bit of what we're going to do tomorrow. I'm trying not to get a glare. This is another activity that you can do. If you're going to do this activity, this is like a making words. You can build it with magnetic letters, or in my classroom I have these little foam letters. And I like to do that sometimes. I usually do like my making words activities on Wednesdays. But with our procedures, learning our procedures and stuff this week, we're still a little bit behind. So we're going to skip out on this activity, but it's a great one to put in the center too. This is one that we're going to do tomorrow if we have a chance to. The kiddos will pick pictures, they'll glue them down right here, and then they'll write a sentence to match the picture. So that's one thing that they're going to do tomorrow. So they're not just doing the buddy spell check, they'll do a picture and then they'll glue it down and they'll write it. So that's what I'm looking at doing tomorrow, along with the decodable book that I showed you guys earlier and the buddy spell check activity. So they'll actually do this. We'll review the sounds. We'll talk about the different sounds. I did want to show you the letters. I'll give you guys, I'll show you those to you tomorrow when I get back into my room. Where's my tab? This is, I don't know where I got the letters. This is similar to what the letters are. I got the letters about 15 years ago, I guess, 14 years ago. This is similar to what they are, but I don't know if I got them. This is from Really Good Stuff, but they were really, really cheap. So I don't think I paid that much because I got a big class set, and I'll see if I can find them. I'll have to text a friend of mine I used to teach with and see if she remembers, because we ordered them together. That's similar. They're foam. I'll show them to you when I get back to school what they are. But so I was going to show you. I'm in my office now, so if my kids come in, I'm at home, so it's real life. And there's a mess everywhere because I've been working. But so we've got Labor Day. So that takes out a day next week. It always seems like there's something. So I was going to go through and I was going to plan out my spelling groups for next week, so you can kind of see what that looks like as I kind of work through it. So PA is Phonemic Awareness. So this week our Phonemic Awareness was working on beginning sounds, switching out beginning sounds, and blending beginning sounds, and identifying beginning sounds. And they did well with that, but I want to do some more switching of the beginning sounds, because they identified the beginning sounds really well, but when I started manipulating that sound, they did not do as well. And I want them to be able to do... Okay, so I'm actually fast forwarding because I've started planning and then I realized that my camera cut off. So I actually wrote in Tuesday's plans, and then I realized that my camera stopped because I was using my phone. So I'm switched over to my iPad. So it's, even though it's like zoomed in a lot because that's what the iPad does. So I'm going to try to back up and hopefully you guys can see. So let me back up a little bit. So I was telling you guys about my phonemic awareness. I wanted to focus again on sound switching since this is a short week. We're going to play a few different games and do some sound switching. I can hear my son outside. That's probably about to happen. Just get ready. So we're going to play some games with some sound switching and do some manipulation with those sounds this week, because I want to kind of really focus in on that area. They did well with that, but I want to kind of hone in on that a little bit more. We're going to focus on introducing the short I words. And of course that was dependent upon their spelling assessment that we did, which it is now Sunday. So we have taken our spelling test, and I will insert that clip here. So there was our spelling assessment. Now you can see, show you, this is my group A words. And again, when I give this assessment, I do pay attention to this. I watch how they're solving these words, but I'm really looking at a lot of this down here. I give them a sentence and I want to see if they're applying what we're doing into the sentence. So the sentence was, I am so mad at my dad. I am so mad. That's kind of rough down there. This is my group A, so they had 6 words and they were just focusing on CVC. I am so mad at my dad. That one's not terrible. It needs some spaces and punctuation, and that handwriting is awful. This one did not get it. I am so mad at my dad. That one needs some work. That one needs some work. So you can see, I think that's the last of that group. I am SOW. I had my dad that needs a little bit of work. And then this is group B here. So that needs some work. But then that group B, she didn't do terrible on her words. She's got can, sad, fan, man, mad, had. We're still working on our handwriting, so that's got to get cleaned up. But during a spelling test, in the first spelling test, I'm a lot more lenient. So those are going to get cleaned up. That's dictation down there. That needs some work. But am is not a sight word that we have done. It's a sight word from kindergarten, but it is something that we've not, that's not been there yet. You know, we're only on the 3rd week of school. They're still babies still, so I try to give them a little bit of leeway, a little, you know, it's still new. Spelling tests they don't do in kindergarten. You know, I'm not a big fan of the spelling test. It's one of those things that it's just kind of done almost for a grade, for the practice, for to be in there. But I'm more focused on what they're doing in their writing. So, you know, it's kind of one of those necessary evils, not necessary evils. I don't know. I want to see what they're doing in their writing. So that's what I really look for. It's kind of one of those things that you know, I'm kind of checking, and they'll get a grade on it, and we'll put it in their data binders. And they actually, you know, will request a spelling test, and they'll look for it. It's, you know, more old school mentality, but I'm not a pusher of it. So I don't know. I'm more about all of the other things that we do throughout the week than I am the end of the week Friday spelling test. So I look at, you know, what they do down here. Yeah, I need to get a manicure, don't I? And, you know, so my thoughts on where they are now, that I'm going to refocus my group A. Group A is probably going to stick with, so I told you guys, depending on what they do is what group A will refocus on. So group A needs short A again. So they need some more work with short A. Group B and group C did well with short A, so they're going to move on to short I. So this is where it'll get tricky, because now my groups are going to be split. So I'll have short I words going for B and C. Group C is off on their own now. They're doing their spelling contracts. So they're very independent. Group B will be on short I. So what I'll do is I'll come up to my magical little list here. I'll pull short I words. What on earth is that? And I'll go back to this. I'll do short I based. I did pretty well. Now I will need this group right here. See these guys? They needed initial consonant blends and digraphs. So I will need to split them up and give them some. So I may need 4 groups this week. So I have to play around with my list and see what to do. I may have four lists this week. So I may have a group B, C, and D, or I may have like B1, B2, or I may just have B and then just focus on some of these words. Because my group B, Okay, so let me finish planning, and then I'll throw my words in there. So tomorrow we will work on our charts, and we're actually going to do, it'll be we'll do Mr. Thorne takes about 3 minutes. If you don't, and I don't remember if this was in my other video before it got cut off. Mr. Thorne is a YouTuber. He's based out of the UK, so you have to be careful. Preview your videos first. I will link him in the description box. We always body spell. Sometimes we do like shoulder, elbow, wrist. Sometimes we'll do like some whole body spelling. I have the kids help me make a chart, and then we'll stand up and we'll, either basketball body spell. In the winter you can do, build a snowman. So they'll, try to build a snowman out of their words, especially some of the longer words. That works really well. Ice skating. In the fall, they'll pretend they're a leaf and they'll sway back and forth and fall to the ground for the word. I'll try to make a list of these in different ways you can body spell your spelling words. I just think it's a fun thing for them to do, and it gets their whole body into spelling out a word. But the most popular thing is, do, for example, if the word, and I always have them give me words. So if we're doing the word, and they've thrown out words in the IP word family for like hip, for example, or the it word family, or the ill word family, whatever it is. Let's say it's hip, and they've done hip. We've talked about hip and all the different meanings of hip. So then they'll body spell hip, then they'll touch their shoulder, H, touch their elbow, I, touch their wrist, P, and then blend it all together. So they'll run their hand down their arm. So hip, down their arm. And I'll try to get some video of one of my kids, or maybe I can get my son to do it sometime. I'm trying to get video releases, so hopefully at open house I'll get some of those, and then I can get some video of my kids doing these for you guys, so you can see those firsthand. But we do some body spelling, and so that's great fun. And then we do either a writing activity where we do practice spelling and handwriting, which is really, really important earlier on, or we'll do some sorting. Okay. So Wednesday was making words, and that's what we'll do with the magnetic letters. Or not magnetic, my letters are foam. And I'll try to insert, I think I still have that clip. Let me insert that clip here. These are my letters. I'll come over here. Oh, mommy moment. Hold on, son. So, spin my camera around. I don't know if I can get a good close-up of these. So, these are letters. I will try to find these and link these. These are not magnetic letters, because magnetic letters, y'all, can be so expensive. These are like foam. I don't know if y'all can see this. Hold on. Yes, son. Okay, ask fast. Okay, so anyway, these are... Okay, I don't need your folder right now, son. Thank you. Okay, so these are foam letters. I can't get that to focus, can I? Here we go. And if you can see, there's like a bumpy side, so that helps the kids to, like, that are like kinesthetic. They can feel like that's the side it needs to be up on. I don't know if you can see that. And that's a flat side. Oh, focus, camera. You see that bumpy side? Flat side. So anyway, these letters I got years ago, and I just have them all sorted, and the kids use these for different making words activities, and as we're learning the different sound patterns and spelling patterns, and they are fantastic. And they're fairly cheap, or at least they used to be. So I'll see if I can find those letters, and I'll link that in this description box down below. And then Thursday would be, gosh, it's really hard to write when you're holding a camera. I don't know if I can like send it to the side and still do it. Let's see. Buddy, spell, check, and then we do our decodable readers. And then Friday is always an assessment. And I do the same routine every week, just with different words. So let me go back to my words. Now, I didn't bring my word journeys book home. I will put a link to word journeys on Amazon in the description box, and all of the books that I use that go along with word journeys. When I did our Ella program through our state, that's when I was introduced to Kathy Gansky and word journeys and the DSA, and I fell in love with that program, and I'm just a firm believer in it. I'm sure that there are 100 other programs. Our district adopted Rise this year. We've just kind of started getting an introduction into it, so I'm still doing a little bit of research into that. I still am a firm believer in the DSA and love that assessment and love the data that it gives me. I think there's a lot to be said for knowing that my students have a strong foundation already in initial consonant blends, but these students here need to know their affricates, and these students down here need to know their final consonant blends. And this is how it's broken up. And I can group all of these students together, and I can target them in this area. And even if it's just in small group reading, or if I can find a book and target them in that area, that they're getting exactly what they need from me in phonics instruction. I think there's a lot to be said for that. So I'm just a really firm believer in this DSA and being able to provide that for them. So I like having to plan it out like this. Amazing teacher that I used to teach with created this product here, and I've just added on to it. These are fluency phrases that kind of she adapted that kind of go along with it. Amazing national board teacher that I used to teach with, so kudos to her and the amazing work that she did that go along with it. So I am only a product in using what I have, been given, and had the pleasure of working with these wonderful instructors and teachers that I've worked with all of these years. So I'm just a firm believer in where I've come from so far, and hopefully I'm still learning. If you have any additional word work or phonics instruction advice, I am all ears, because I do not think that there is any right or wrong way. Actually, I do. I feel like if you open up a basal and you teach what the basal tells you to teach, and you don't ever know what your kids really need, then that's definitely not the way to do it. So that's my only wrong way. But I think that as long as you are doing what's best for your kids, and then there's no right or wrong way in that aspect. You're doing what's best for your students. So there are my week's plans for this week. It is now Monday, so I'm going to go gather up everything I need. I'm going to write out their words. I'm probably not going to get them all in because I don't have that book, but I certainly will get most of them in. This has been my spelling video, so I will try to insert as many clips from last week as I can, and stay tuned for next week's video. And please check out my other videos, that I have, and I will see you guys next time. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.